We tend to think of childhood as timeless, something that's always existed because humans have always had children. But from an evolutionary perspective, having a period of childhood actually makes our species an outlier, even among our closest relatives. Having a long growth period can be costly and dangerous, so it may seem counterintuitive that young humans take years, decades even, to reach maturity. During that time, they consume far more energy than they produce and aren't even passing on their genes, so how could childhood confer any benefit? To answer that question, anthropologists turn to life history theory, a framework for understanding how organisms evolve patterns of growth, reproduction, and survival under energetic constraints. All of life can be fundamentalized as systems of energy exchange, but energy is limited. Every organism faces trade-offs when it comes to what they can do with the energy that they gain. We break down how energy can be used into 3 categories: maintenance, reproduction, and growth. Because each unit of energy can only be used once, energy invested in growth can't be used for maintenance, energy invested in maintenance can't be used for reproduction, and so on and so forth. This is called the principle of allocation. We can apply the principle of allocation to think about the ways organisms evolve to balance their limited resources throughout their life and improve their fitness. Should it speedrun growth and development to maximize time and energy spent investing in producing lots of offspring, or should it reproduce fewer, slower growing offspring that have better individual chances of survival? In general, life histories can be thought of as being fast or slow, and each is defined by a set of traits on a continuum of their own. Fast life histories, which favor short growth periods and many offspring, are typically accompanied by shorter lifespans and generation times, higher reproductive output, and low parental investment in offspring. Conversely, slow life histories are typically accompanied by long lifespans, slow growth, low reproductive output, and heavy parental investment. Viewed through this lens, humans are deeply unusual. Compared to other primates, we grow slowly, mature late, reproduce frequently, and live exceptionally long lives. These traits form an integrated life history strategy that situates humans outside of the norm. Our development unfolds across 5 biologically distinct stages, each with different energetic and social demands. First is infancy, the time from birth until weaning. As anyone who has been around babies will tell you, this is a period of extreme dependency, but also of pretty amazing, explosive brain growth. Next comes childhood, which begins after weaning and lasts until about age 7 on average. Children during this time are nutritionally dependent, cognitively immature, and constrained by small bodies and guts and immature teeth, but they grow quickly, especially in the brain. And after childhood comes juvenility, when somatic growth slows down, fat storage increases, and children become partially but not fully nutritionally dependent. This is in preparation for puberty, when energetic costs are going to go up, marking the start of adolescence, followed by a growth spurt and the beginning of development for secondary sexual characteristics. Finally, maturity spans from the completion of sexual development all the way through death. So what sets humans apart are the extended periods of childhood and adolescence. The differences become clearer when looking at chimpanzee life history. Our closest living relatives, chimpanzees and humans, diverged an estimated 5 to 7 million years ago. They passed through just 3 stages of development: infancy, juvenility, and maturity. After weaning, chimpanzee juveniles must rapidly gain nutritional independence, as chimpanzees don't provision their offspring. Their dentition matures faster, their growth is more continuous, and their path to adulthood is shorter, reaching sexual maturity around only 10 years old compared to humans near 20. Although chimpanzees experience a brief period of learning after puberty that could be characterized as a kind of social adolescence, they're perfectly capable of reproducing at this point. Additionally, they lack a prolonged post-weaning but pre-pubertal period of nutritional dependence equivalent to human childhood. This contrast highlights that childhood's not just more time growing up, it's a fundamentally different strategy. But why would natural selection favor such costly delay in maturity? We have several hypotheses to help explain this. First is the brain growth hypothesis. The human brain is extraordinarily expensive. it's composed of about 60% fat, many of those being rare fatty acids that are costly to produce, and it consumes about 20 to 25% of our basal metabolic rate, being the average amount of energy we use in a day. In other primates, that figure is closer to 10%, and mammals more broadly, it's only a few. According to this hypothesis, a prolonged developmental period allows energy to be diverted towards brain growth while delaying somatic and reproductive investment. Secondly, the learning hypothesis. We humans rely on complex, skill-intensive subsistence strategies combining cooperative foraging, hunting, tool use, food processing, and social coordination. This hypothesis purports that juvenility provides the time needed to acquire these skills, and that the energetic costs of learning are repaid later through higher adult productivity. Third comes the ecological risk, or sometimes called the starvation aversion hypothesis, and it states that while learning, it may be adaptive to stay small. Smaller bodies require fewer calories, reducing maintenance costs and buffering juveniles against food shortfalls. Therefore, under this model, dependency becomes a strategy for managing risk rather than some kind of developmental failure that impedes an organism's reproductive capability. And finally, the dominance hypothesis suggests that remaining physically small might reduce aggression from older, more dominant group members, therefore allowing juveniles to survive and learn within complex social environments until they're cognitively and socially prepared for adult competition. It's important to note that these hypotheses, though, they're not mutually exclusive. Together, they suggest that extended juvenility is a multifaceted solution to energetic, cognitive, ecological, and social challenges. For decades, anthropologists have debated when this distinctive human growth pattern evolved. New fossil evidence from Dmanisi, Georgia, dating to between 1.85 and 1.77 million years ago, offers some insight. Homo erectus is an ancient human relative that emerged some 2 million years ago in East Africa. Dmanisi is the oldest well-dated hominid site outside of Africa, and it's populated by several Homo erectus individuals. Homo erectus had much smaller brains than we do now, averaging only about 900 cubic centimeters compared to modern humans' 1,300. And a juvenile individual represented by the skull D2700 and the mandible D2735, as well as partial postcranial remains, preserves remarkably well-preserved dental growth records. Using high-resolution synchrotron CT scans, researchers reconstructed daily and long-period growth increments in enamel and dentin, and were able to use those microscopic growth lines to calculate dental development rates, tooth formation sequences, and even episodes of physiological stress when growth was impacted by not having enough energy to spare. The results reveal a mosaic pattern. Tooth tissue formed at fast ape-like rates, but the timing and sequence of tooth development were more human-like, especially the delayed maturation of posterior teeth and the late dental growth spurt. The individual died at only about 11 and a half years of age, so just before dental maturity, which occurs usually around 12 or 13 years. This indicates that an extended growth phase had already evolved in early Homo before any dramatic increase in brain size. So, in conclusion, childhood is not just a long wait for adulthood. It's an evolutionary innovation that has reshaped how humans grow, learn, cooperate, and survive. Fossil evidence shows that extended growth emerged early in our genes, before large brains and long lives fully evolved, and together they seem to have influenced each such that we got our complex strategy of today. Childhood laid the foundation for everything that followed: culture, cooperation, intelligence, and social complexity. To grow up human is to grow up slowly, and that slowness, be it costly, risky, and demanding, may be one of the most powerful adaptations that our species has ever evolved.